On November 18th, 2001, 14s got drunk and mistaking our Sikh turbans and our name for followers of bin Laden, torched our place of worship. Based on Guru Nanak Dev's teachings, everyone is part of my community. I see no one as an other. We responded to the hatred with love expressed in Baba Virsa Singh's powerful statement of forgiveness. There were two miracles. In the midst of this blazing inferno, with flames shooting from the roof, Sri Guru Granth Sahib, the Holy Scripture, wasn't touched by fire or water. And the power of forgiveness, which healed and transformed both individuals and the community.
कोर्ट ने पूछा कि बाबा जी की भी सलाह ले लो। मैं क्या मेरी कोई सलाह है कंप्लीट बच्चे बरी कीते जान।
20 years ago this month, in the shadows of 9/11, a group of teenagers destroyed a Sikh temple in Central Square, thinking it supported Osama bin Laden.
Since that day, those who worship there have focused on forgiveness. As News Channel 9's Arson explains, even in a new place of worship, that hasn't changed.
November 18th, 2001 is a day that is both hard to forget for Ralph Singh and difficult to reflect on.
Someone torched our place of worship.
He is the founding president of Gobind Sudden USA. On that day, the Sikh temple was destroyed.
We went up there and the place was hanging heavy with not just soot, but heavy with the power of hate.
The arson occurring 2 months after the attacks on 9/11 because teens who set the fire did not understand what this place of worship stood for.
These children thought, because of the hysteria, that our Sikh turbans represented followers of bin Laden and they were doing their patriotic duty.
From the moment they saw the fire, they forgave them. They have even kept in contact with some of those involved. The message then is the same now. We should practice forgiveness and be inclusive.
We can all live together in one community, even if we don't agree. And we don't. There's so many things we don't agree with, but we can respect each other's opinions and be in community with love.
A lesson that continues to stand the test of time. Iris St. Moran, News Channel 9.
On this 20th anniversary of the arson attack on Gobind Sudden USA, which was the first attack on a house of worship post 9/11, even given COVID restrictions, a small but diverse group from across the region gathered to join in our celebration we call Gathering Around the Light, and feel the power of Babaji's presence of love and forgiveness. We hope you can feel the power of healing that drew everyone together, and that you can sense the power to transform the world.
Thank you all for coming. Welcome to Gobind Sadan, God's house without walls. Everyone, regardless of their religion, race, or beliefs, is welcome here. It is Babaji's mission to celebrate the love of God in all.
The room is almost in the scripture, in Christian Judaism, it says God put his hand up and stopped the flame, and we literally saw that. And though Prabhupada and I are shocked, Babaji's message of forgiveness came through powerfully, and the local community came around us.
Good evening from Southeast Louisiana. First of all, I want to extend my apologies for not being able to make the celebration. It was indeed my sincere intent to try and be there, but for reasons unforeseeable and outside my my command. I'm unable to make it. So first of all, I want to apologize, but let you all know how much I truly wish I could be there in the celebration. My name is Hank Meyer. I'm a senior special agent with the Department of Justice, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. And 20 years ago, I was a young whippersnapper of agent assigned to the Syracuse field office. And I had the esteemed pleasure of being dispatched to the scene of the church fire at the Sikh temple. And I remember digging out the scene with some of the local fire investigators. And one of the things that really resonate with me today was the fact that there was this book. I don't know what the name of it is, but there was a book that was somewhat of, I guess you could say, the Bible or the scriptures of the Sikh people in the Gobind Sadan temple. And I was absolutely amazed that this particular book was relevantly undamaged. Absolutely very little damage at all. Hindsight being 20/20, I probably should have paid more attention, that this would probably be the first of many of my amazing experiences in coming to know the Sikh people, and the powerful message that was already there that maybe I just wasn't paying attention to from the beginning. And the investigation continued, and we were able to identify the people that had started the fire, and we arrested them, and it was up to the court's determination to determine the accountability. And then now, 20 years later, we're here to celebrate the growth, the recovery, the love, and the forgiveness. So I think that's what this meeting or celebration is about genuine forgiveness and love. I was raised in a devout Episcopalian, and we were always told to love thy neighbor as you would love thyself. But it wasn't truly until this experience of the fire and investigating the fire and seeing the response of the Sikh people to the defendants that were charged, I truly appreciate and understand what it meant is to forgive and to love. So with this gathering, I hope that you celebrate in peace. I hope that you celebrate tolerance. I hope that you celebrate acceptance. And I hope that you celebrate the love for mankind. This truly was a life-changing experience for me, as being privileged to have been the federal investigator on this particular fire. The relationships that I've been able to develop, and the ability for me to be able to expand my horizons and being able to understand and be able to appreciate further different religions, for that of even the Sikhs, is most amazing for me. And I think the rest of the world can truly take advantage of the lessons learned from this as well. We can all learn from the great tragedy that had happened on 9/11. And then we can also all learn of how we come together as a country in that response, but even more so how we can come together as a country in this response. And that we are much stronger together, united in one, equally appreciative of each and every one of our differences, as we are divided. And I think it's important for us to put our concentration on the love and respect and admiration we have for each other, and how we can come together and support and nurture each other, as opposed to try and find ways to bifurcate each other. So with that, I send you my warmest and kindest wishes. Again, I wish I could be there, but I hope that you all stay in touch, and take care.
Person and freezing them in that particular point, which they could move past if they're allowed to. So by having a clear, open, when we say open mind, the vision just which is accepting, suddenly these kids can grow. And so I had the honor of reading this statement when the federal attorneys were standing there ready to put them away on the first hate crime under Pataki's hate crime legislation, minimum 10 years, and these were 18, 19-year-olds. We didn't want that. And so here's Don Todd, the district attorney's take on it.
Hi, my name is Don Todd. I was an assistant district attorney at the time of the Goban Sedan arson. I was subsequently elected as county court judge in 2010 and retired at the end of 2020. At the outset, let me apologize. I'm deeply sorry that I can't be present today because in so many respects, the occurrences of 20 years ago has greatly impacted me. Initially, my reaction was one of shock and anger that a house of worship could be intentionally set on fire. Then it became one of wonderment as I learned and saw how the Holy Scripture had been somehow spared of damage. With the coordination of many agencies, including but not limited to the Oswego County Sheriff's Department, the United States Attorney's Office, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the New York State Police, and the Oswego County Origin and Cause Team, the investigation progressed and 4 individuals were arrested and charged with various crimes, the seriousness of which varied depending on the nature of each defendant's involvement. 2 were involved only in acts of criminal mischief, while 2 others were responsible for setting the actual fire, the arson. It was the obligation of the Oswego County District Attorney's Office to prosecute the defendants relative to any state crimes, and it was for the U.S. Attorney's Office to prosecute federally. Due to these double jeopardy clause, it was agreed that state court prosecutions would go first, and if they resulted in a favorable resolution, no federal prosecution would occur. In that regard, I was assigned to represent our office, and together with the United States Attorney's Office, we sought to obtain an appropriate resolution for each defendant. As part of that effort, we met with Ralph Singh and other representatives of Goban Sedan to discuss their feelings. As we discussed the various manners in which we could proceed, it was astonishing to me that their overwhelming concern was for the future of the defendants. While they recognized that there needed to be punishment of some kind, it was clear that it was important to them that it should be also one that would give the youths the opportunity for redemption and still be able to live a productive life. Their expressions of forgiveness and concern for the defendants' well-being certainly affected the ultimate resolution of the cases, and from a personal perspective, hopefully it made me a better and more compassionate person, prosecutor, and later as a judge. I think it's important for us to gather and remember this incident because in so many ways we're in the same circumstances as in 2001, and in other ways we are so much opposite. In late 2001, the United States was indeed united. Due to the events of September 11th, Americans were united. However, that unity was often expressed, as here, in hatred and violence against those perceived to be enemies of our country. Today, our country is anything but united, socially, politically, economically, and so many other ways. If we are to have hope for our country's future, it's necessary to learn from these events in the teaching of the Sikh gurus and to try to live in peace, harmony, and forgiveness. Again, I'm deeply sorry I'm not able to be there today, and I hope
Put away for a little longer time, but still reduced sentences. They wrote to us from jail. If only we'd known your stories. If only we knew what you stood for. So we picked that theme and carried that we have to change the narrative. We have to change the narrative to allow for growth and transformation. And so Cassie became, given that Sean Kirst's attention, became the poster child of the child, the one who grew most and was able to grow from and transform her life. She's now a very successful visiting nurse, or travel nurse. But this time she wrote, and I'll try to read this to you. Hello, as many of you know, my name is Cassie Phillips, one of 5 that was involved with a crime committed at Goban. I would have liked nothing more than to attend in person, and very sad I'll be missing out of all the love and joy that's come out of such an event. November 18, 2001, 20 years ago, honestly, it seems just like yesterday. Only difference is I've gained lots and lots of wisdom. I can't thank this community enough for all the forgiveness and love given. Never in a million years would I have thought so many miracles and blessings could come from such negative acts. This loving, kind community didn't only forgive me when I didn't know how to forgive myself, but they led me to the light. These were the examples I needed in my life to grow, to keep it simple. When love is spread, love will grow, which is exactly what is taking place today. 20 years later, everyone is gathering to celebrate all the love given, to remember the feeling of forgiveness that came after such a devastating event. More or less, sometimes the unkind people are the ones who need kind people the most. Wow. And that was me 20 years ago. I feel like this had made a stronger community. And she takes my name. It's actually Babaji's message of forgiveness is carried over and touched the lives of many, as well as highly impacting my own. Govindsatta means God's house without walls. Everyone is welcome with open arms. This is a true statement. I owe you the world. There is nothing I could give you to amount to the love you have shown me. Your power of forgiveness overcame the hatred, healed and transformed my life. For 20 years we have remained in contact, and I know we have many more things to do together. The most important message I could put out there for educators and for parents is to teach your children about diversity, cultural difference, but most importantly, teach them we're all the same. Teach them acts of kindness, and we're all in this together. Ralph Singh introduced the topic with the story of how the boys wrote from prison, "If only we'd known your story. If only we understood what you stood for, we never would have done this." In response to those words, Ralph developed a culturally responsive curriculum for K-12 education based on multicultural wisdom stories, so children can find their stories, be affirmed in their own story, and also be informed about the stories of those around them. By learning each other's stories, we are able to find a shared narrative in the universal truths and overcome our fear of the other. Sharing our stories provides the basis for being in community together. It has proven transformative for the children. They have been inspired to change the story of the world from one of conflict to peace.